welcome back to our podcast. This is the Slight Sarcasm Podcast. I'm Celeste.
I'm Amber.
And thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, hello.
This beginning of this podcast has been a little crazy, but it's okay. It's okay. The setup process.
It wasn't my fault.
Well, no. It's no one's fault. I feel like,
Okay. Let's go with that.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So, how has your week been? I'll start off with that a little bit.
Yeah, it's been okay. Getting a lot of stuff done at work. I'm up in Seattle again, so it's just been more busy stuff. And luckily, this is the last time I'll have to travel for work for a little while. My boss is giving me a break. I guess I'm sure he's thinking more about the budget, but he's like, yeah, you don't have to come up here that much anymore. I'm like, all right, cool. Because it's a little depressing up here for me.
I've heard Seattle's like cold and rainy.
I think I've seen the sun. I've been up here like maybe a total of like 20 days over the last.
Oh dang, yeah.
Yeah, over the last month and a half, and I've seen the sun twice.
Wow. Yeah.
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 So yeah, and I was talking to this black lady earlier. I had a meeting. We had a client meeting, and she was at reception. And so she's like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" We were like, "Oh, we're from the Bay Area." Me and my boss. She was like, "Oh," we were like, "Oh, we're from the Bay Area." And she's, "Oh, must be nice." And I was like, "Oh, I know." I was like, "Yeah, I really enjoy living down there." Blah blah blah. And she just kept like making all these jabs, like, "Yeah, it always rains here. I've been here my whole life." Blah blah blah. She's like, "One time I went to Vegas. It was amazing. It didn't rain the whole time I was there." I was like, "Yeah, well, you were in the desert, so."
Yeah.
But anyways, I feel bad for her because she was like, "One day I'll get out of here," and she kind of just looked down, and that was the end of the conversation for her.
Aww, she's having a bad day.
She woke
up again, and she was like, "It is dark."
She woke up and it was still raining. Yep.
Yeah. She was like, "My whole life."
I not to get too sidetracked, but I really do. I've been noticing that I really get it. Like, I get it. If you like rain and you like the cold and that's your thing, I get it now.
Yeah.
Because there's so much you can do with it. Like, stuff like go out and drink beer and, see movies and fun shit like that. That's, like indoor activities anyway. But I get it. I get why people like it up here. But it's just not for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not for me either. I need to see the sun.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. That's cool though.
Anyways, how was your week?
Oh
no.
I don't know. I don't know. My anxiety has been really bad this week.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's from like the news I got on Monday. I think my brain just like overthinking literally any and everything, and like for whatever reason, I don't know, I can't allow myself to be happy about things. So like even though like it's really good news, I'm still super anxious about literally any and everything. And so I had to I think Tuesday I worked from home because my anxiety was like through the roof. And I couldn't calm myself down. It's been a couple of days. I'm feeling better today, which is really good. But yeah, it sucks because I'm just it was such good news, but
yeah,
I also, my brain just won't allow me to be happy and enjoy good things. So
that's what I was gonna say. It seems like you want to be happy and celebrate and just enjoy the fact that you have this good news, but your brain is coming up with all these different scenarios and things that you need to be considering. It's like, well, now that you know this, you gotta worry about this, and this, and that'll just wreck you.
Yeah, so I was just I just need to think about other things. Yeah. But yeah, that's how my week is going. But I mean, today was payday. Yeah. So
Dang,
that's always good.
I miss getting paid on Thursdays. I don't know why. It's not like it even matters. It's still every 2 weeks, but just
oh,
an
I get paid
extra
every week.
day before the weekend, I guess, to spend all your fucking money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I get paid every week, so I'm like really
What?
spoiled. Mm-hmm.
So
Once a week.
jealous.
Yeah.
Jonas gets paid every week, but I feel like we don't have a plan for what he does with his money a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of sits there, and like we don't, you know, it's not that it's not doing anything. It's just like we don't have a plan for it. So it's a bit like just like a whatever thing. But I feel like if we had a plan for it, it would, when he did get paid, we'd be like, all right, cool. Now we can do this, this, and this. Like if we like
Mm-hmm.
kind of staggered our bills or something, I think it would be
Mm-hmm.
much more
Yeah.
worthwhile. But right now, it just kind of sits there until we need to pay for something like rent.
I mean, that's real too. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So
Okay.
we're gonna get into the episode. So today we're gonna be talking along the vein of actually literally what we were just talking about.
Yep.
Working and living and how like I don't know how difficult it is or it can be at times, but also it can be like pretty rewarding. So
I guess
it's
just
like
talking
a
about
mix
like,
of both. Yeah.
yeah, just talking about like the topic of being able or seeming to be unable to split your work and your life and
Yeah.
make them two separate entities, because like I have a lot of coworkers who are like all they care about is work, and they're the first ones in and the last ones out. And I'll ask them like, oh, how late you stay? They're like, oh, just till 9 this time. And I'm like, what? Like,
Bruh.
and you get paid salary, so there's no overtime? Like, no.
We're gonna get into that because I have
I
lots
mean,
of thoughts about
I
that.
know. Like, I get it. Like, if you're a manager and you just have so much shit to do, I totally get it.
Mm-hmm.
But there gets to be a point where you need to make a decision. Like, okay, I'm a manager, I'm a boss. Like, I need to delegate this shit. I can't do it all myself.
Hell
And so that's
yeah.
why sometimes I don't feel bad. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're the type of person who just wants to do the work yourself because you want it done right, or your
Your
way,
way, yeah.
I can't feel bad for you if you're
Mm-mm.
stuck there working 12, 15-hour days.
That's a personal problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, so my first question is when someone says work life balance, what do you think of? Like what like what triggers you, or like what's like
I honestly, I think of countries that are not the US. I think of like Scandinavian countries. I'm sure if you read the news every year, they have all these reports that come out that say so and so, Finland, Denmark, whatever country, they're the happiest countries. They have the best work life balances. They have the best benefits for their workers, that sort of
that's
stuff.
real, yeah, like
And then you think of
Sweden or something like that.
yeah, a lot of those Scandinavian countries have similar social values, I guess you could say. And
Mm-hmm.
so they prioritize stuff like taking care of the people that are working in their country. So yeah, so I think of that, and then I also think I kind of daydream and think of what it would be like if I was in a good work life balance. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm okay, but at times I find myself teetering into like I take my work home with me. A problem I have that I'm not really sure how to fix is I keep my work email running on my phone 24/7. So it might be
Mm-hmm.
like 3 a.m. and I get woken up because my phone chimes and it tells me I have an email coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And my reaction is to just read it like, oh God, what's happening? Even though it's 3 a.m.
Yeah,
Nothing related to the work that I do
nothing is
is gonna
legit.
be
Yeah.
urgent at 3 a.m. It's just gonna
Yeah.
be either some general company email coming in overnight, or some random person who might be, it might be 7 a.m. for them, or 6
Mm-hmm.
a.m. for them on the East Coast. They just happen to be working early or something, and they just send
Mm-hmm.
something out. So but for me, it's I find it difficult to just put it away. Like, I always feel like I need to be responding to stuff. If people are working late and they're trying to get in touch with me or they need something from me, I'm going to try to turn around and return the favor, just because I don't want to have the attention of being someone who is not doing that. You know, I don't want people to think that I don't care about my job because I'm not willing to work late or respond to emails after hours, etc., etc.
Yeah. I get that sentiment, and I feel like a lot of people feel that way. Feel exactly the way you feel. Like a lot of my coworkers feel exactly the same way. So I totally understand that. I think when I think of like when someone says that to me, like work life balance, I really think of like first thing that I really think of is capitalism, to be
Yeah.
totally honest. Because oh my god. But also like I just think of like that like the movies where you have like the hardworking girl and she's trying to juggle, and like in the TV shows she's trying to juggle life and
And
work
dating
and
and
dating
yeah.
and being a boss and dot dot dot, and I'm
Yep.
just like, oh my god. And like I also like am reminded of how much like I was trying to do that, and like how much I wanted to be that kind of person, especially like growing up. I was
Same,
like, I
same.
want to like be the boss 9 to 5 and 5 to 9, be cool and stuff. So yeah, that's like definitely the first thing that like pops into my head when I think about that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Okay. So how do you balance work and life? Like what are the things that you do to balance work and life? So I'll go first this time.
Okay.
I yeah,
You
I
weren't ready.
yeah, I'm not yeah, I was like, "Ah, like I'm pretty sure I have a great answer to this." And
Nope.
then now I'm thinking I'm like, "Nah."
Yeah,
Like
I really don't.
I really I really don't. It's really really hard for me to balance it
Yes.
because I used to be able to, because the work that I was doing and the position I was at, I didn't I don't want to say I was a lowly worker, but in a sense I kind of was. Like I was just doing one type of thing all the time. It wasn't what I do now is, which is more like coordinating.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just doing one thing. So I was like, okay, like I do this one thing. It's easy for me to just like go home and not take it like home with me and then like work on school or like, you know, do whatever I needed to do.
Right.
And that was just it. Like I didn't have to do anything else. And then now within the past almost a year, I have been like dealing with like how the hell do I like go to work and do work things and then not really bring it home, but sometimes I have to bring it home because like sometimes I don't get enough stuff done.
Yep.
And then like in November I was just trying to figure out like, you know, how to have Celeste time and like do all these like things that I wanted to do, like go to the movies and shop, I don't know what I do, but or read books, I don't know. And like it was just like really daunting, and I think it's still something that I'm figuring out for myself. And yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard for me at least. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta ask me the question again though, because I forgot. I
Oh
forgot the wording
gosh.
of the question.
Okay, so how do you balance work and life?
Um. Okay, for me, I think I have. This is hard for me too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um. I honestly I think it's made easier with Jonas because he
Mhm.
comes home and he's like, nope, I don't want to talk about work. Like, I'm sure you had a great day. I'd love to hear about it if you really want to tell me, but I really don't want to talk about it if I don't have to. You know, like, he's like,
Yeah.
as soon as he crosses that threshold, he's like done, like mentally
Mm-hmm.
checked out. And so we kind of just move into our evening routine as quickly as possible, which is we got to get something ready for dinner. You know, we got to exercise if we do that. We've got to,
Yeah.
prep whatever for tomorrow. And then, like, we just have like, it's not really that we have like a regimented routine where it's like we're doing this from this time to this time, whatever, but it's just like if we want to make the most of those, if you think about it, most people when they by the time they get home, it's maybe like 6 o'clock or something. If they get off at 5, they're getting home
Yeah.
around like 6, maybe 6:30, and then you're in bed by 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe midnight if you can handle not getting that much sleep. But I can't do that, so we
Yeah.
get ready for bed around 10. So that really gives you only like 4 or 5 hours each evening to do
Man.
all this other shit, which
Yeah.
includes, God forbid we had kids, right?
Oh,
you know so those 4 or 5 hours you are cooking your meals, you're prepping your lunch if you're doing that, you're trying to entertain each other, you're trying to catch up on each other's day, you're trying to
yeah.
take care of bills and important shit, and then
Running
you
errands. Yeah.
you're taking a shower, and you're getting ready for bed and whatever. So it's like we realize that because we have so little time, the less we dwell on shit from work, the
Yeah.
more time we have
Yeah.
to do the stuff we actually want to do in the evening. So he can go out and go run for an hour, and or run for half an hour and work out for half an hour, and I can make something, cook something that's really not intricate, but like cook something that's intensive, that takes longer than 20 minutes. Just throw it in the oven and go. Like, I can cook the kind of food I want to cook, or I can get him to help me and do certain things, and then we can sit and read together for an hour. All that stuff that kind of
Yeah.
comes with it. So I think the main thing for us is, as soon as we're through the door, we pretty much just drop the day. Like, it's almost like it's that same day but a part two. Like, it's a totally different mental shift from
Mm-hmm.
that point on. But like I mentioned before, I still have those things that kind of cut into my mental space at that point. When I get an email, like, I'm suddenly brought right back to what I was trying to avoid anyway.
Yeah.
And then, it even takes me a while to like shake it off, because, if I get an email and someone's asking a question and I can't answer it at the moment, I have to, wait till I get to the office or talk to someone else. And then I'm just thinking about like, oh, I wish I could answer it, and blah, blah, blah. They're going to be waiting for it, and it's just,
Yeah.
that's something I'm really trying to practice now. And I'm sure other questions that we discuss later today will kind of bring this out. But over the last
Yeah.
week or so, I've really had um, a reorg in my mind of how I want to approach this job. There's a lot of stuff that I've been doing that I don't think I've been doing the right way for me. And so, one of those things is worrying too much or worrying too little about certain things, and, trying to figure out what to do about that. So,
Yeah.
my long winded answer in short is we think of it as two different parts, or two different big parts of our day. The
Yeah.
work part that sucks, or it's not as enjoyable.
Yeah.
Even from the point where he gets up at 5:30 and I get up right after him, all the way up until we're both through that door, and it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, and that's when our other day starts.
Yeah. That makes sense. I feel like that's a really good approach to like thinking about it. Yeah. I like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I think it's a little wacky to think about it, like, you're not having 2 days in one day, but
I
but
mean,
if you
okay.
do kind
Yeah.
of segment it that way, and you kind of that's how people let shit go.
Yeah.
You
And I feel
know,
like also
they leave
like
it behind.
yeah, also like if that works for you, then that works for you. Like,
Yeah.
oh well, yeah. But I think that's cool though. That's a really cool. That's I've never thought of to think of it like that. So that's actually
Thanks.
really really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I credit that to Jonas, and I don't think we've ever explicitly said it, but that's how I've interpreted it
Mhm.
for a long time now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, usually I beat him home, but you know, when I see him come through the door, his whole body language changes. Like as soon
Mhm.
as he like drops his keys and his badge and takes his shoes off, his whole body just totally
Yeah.
relaxes. It's completely
Yeah.
different from
That's
that point. And
good.
that's how I see that as like the transition point.
Yeah. That's good though. Yeah. I really like that. I really like that. I don't know if I would implement that in my own life, but I really like the
Well,
idea.
yeah, right. So
Yeah.
you don't have to say, okay, here's my new day, starting now. No, you don't have to
No.
do that. That's great.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not for everyone, of course.
Yeah.
But you know, if you get home and as long as you're not like it's not something you have to do, like I have to work another couple hours from home. You know, as long as you're done, you could say, you know, you're done for work,
Mhm.
done with work for the day.
Mhm.
As soon as you get home, just say, well, there's nothing I can do about any of my work
Mhm.
issues until tomorrow. So I might
Yeah.
as well just move on.
Yeah. That,
Or,
I
you know,
100% agree with
bookmark
that.
it,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Is there just no such thing as work-life balance? Like, is there
No, no.
just because I mean, I don't know. I feel like the term, I think the idea of balance is the wrong word that we've been using. I think it's just prioritizing what needs to get done. Like, so for example, I, once I'm home, that's it. Like you and Jonas, like once I'm home, that's it. Like I don't really worry too much anything about work or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because this really helped me, but I got a work phone.
Oh,
At
okay.
my company, they give us work phones. So I was like, once I kind of got into like this new position or whatever, I was like, all right, I'm getting a work phone because y'all are going to be calling me. I have to meet with people. I have
Oh,
to give out
yeah,
business cards
absolutely.
and stuff like that. And like, I was like, I'm taking my work email off of my personal phone. I'm putting it
Yes.
on my work phone. And that is that. Like, I got, because I also just wanted another um number that they could call me on. And
Mm-hmm.
at 5, I messaged everyone once I got my phone, and I was like, at 5:30 my work phone turns off, which means that if you want to contact me, the only people that can contact me are the people on my team. And if you need something from me after 5:30, it will just go straight to like my work phone because I have iPhones. They all sync up and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it'll be fine. But like I was like, and like everybody like jokes and be like, "Oh, Celeste, like you turn your phone off at 5:30, ha ha ha, like whatever."
Yes,
But
yes, the fuck
like
I do.
exactly. I was just like, I have boundaries. Like, and
Are
those are my
you
priorities.
are
Like
you paid hourly?
yeah.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me? Oh my
So
god, the minute I walk out the door, that thing is off.
yeah, I was just like, I'm not, I usually get home before 5:30, so I have my phone on for like another hour, which is
Yeah,
fine.
but
I don't
still.
mind or anything like that. But like if something needs to happen, the only person who really needs to call me is my boss. And there
Mm-hmm.
have been times when they have to call me and they're like, "Oh, we need you to go to Northern Virginia, like, tomorrow morning." And I'm like, "Oh, dang." Like, but, and it was just like short notice and whatever. And I'm like, "It's fine. Like, like you need
Yeah.
me to go for a meeting, blah, blah, whatever. Things need to get done." That's totally fine.
Right,
But
but if they really need
no,
you, they're gonna contact you in whatever way they figure out.
yes.
But if it's not urgent, nothing's gonna happen.
And also I feel like you're saying, like you were saying before, and like my line of work, nothing is urgent.
Yeah.
Like nothing is urgent. So
Yeah.
like I'm not a doctor, I'm
Yeah,
not a
unless the building's on
nurse,
fire and
and I'm not even the
all the
point of
data is going,
contact
which
if the
yeah.
building is on fire. Call my boss's boss.
Right.
So yeah, I just
Celeste,
yeah.
it's your neighbor, your building's on fire.
I'm gonna be like, "Oh well, call 911.
Mm-hmm.
Got the wrong number." But yeah. Yeah, so that was like one thing that I do, and I just believe I don't believe in a balance, cuz I don't know. I believe balance is just a myth. I don't know. I think it's just prioritizing what needs to be prioritized, because there are times when like I prioritize work over something else, that something fun I could be doing, but maybe there are deadlines or something like that, and like I just have to get on it. And the only reason why I prioritize that over that, because I'm like, look, so you can pay me overtime because I'm not playing games about me prioritizing this work over my fun. You also gonna pay me for my work. You're gonna pay me for, you know, prioritizing this over my fun. So
no,
yeah.
I'm with you on that. You know what's funny? Now that I'm thinking about it, I have to go to this dinner with my boss, my boss's boss, and some of my coworkers. And I'm like, dude, if we're just gonna talk about work the whole time, I'm gonna make an excuse and leave. Like, yeah, sorry, my hotel bathroom started flooding before I left. I need to go take care of that.
Yeah. Like, or just like,
I don't want to. Because we already, like, this is what I think I told you this before, but when I first got up here, I realized very quickly that my boss, love him, dude, I really do love working for him, but because he's a workaholic, everyone around him, he assumes everyone around him is also a workaholic. Yeah. So there's been instances where it's been 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I'm literally already in bed in this hotel, you know, pajamas on, Netflix on,
just chilling.
And I'll get just chilling, and I'll get a call or a text from him, and he'll be like, "Hey, I'm working on so and so. Do you want to come help me out with this, or you know, ask me a question or something random, right?"
Yeah.
And I just have to be like, I'm sorry, like I don't. If you really need me, yes, I can come over and help you out, but no. I'm already in for the night. And he goes, and like one time I did that, I said that to him. It was about 7:35 or so, 7:40. And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were still in the office." I'm like, what, me? No, I get it. You know, I get it because he has so much stuff going on, but that's not me.
Yeah.
And
but also I feel like as someone, I don't know, I feel like as someone's boss, you should be able to understand how people work and operate. So like, clearly, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like when my boss calls me after a certain time, she, like any one of us, even before like my whole like 5:30 rule, whatever, she would, when she would call us, she would always apologize if it was late and be like, "Oh, like I'm sorry, like are you able to talk? Like is this a good time for you?"
Yeah, and you could easily say, "No, it's not."
Yeah, but that
you're
was
not
it.
a shitty person, and so if you are available and you are free, you're gonna say, "What do you need?" Right?
Yeah, but you're still a boss, and understanding that like not everyone works and operates like that. Like just because you are a certain way, my boss is a workaholic as well. She will send emails at 3 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast time. I'm like, ma'am, go to bed. But still, like she doesn't have that expectation of, hey, like you also need to be doing the same thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, no, and my boss isn't like that, but I think it kind of escapes him that other people don't have to spend as much time working as he does. And I don't even know if he needs to spend that much time working.
Probably
but
not. Yeah,
he's busy. He really is busy on his feet, in meetings, on calls all day. And I think that's another problem, though.
Yeah.
And this is something that I've been seeing a lot in the news lately, where people are saying we have too many fucking meetings.
Oh yeah,
there's just too many meetings. There's too many meetings to talk about the same shit
over and over again.
We need an update on such and such. So and so, do you have this update? No, I'm still working on it. What the fuck? Like,
that could have been
put that shit in an email and say, "Hey, I have nothing to add in this meeting today," and then you cut the agenda in half from there, right? And so maybe we don't have too many meetings, but we have too many fucking long meetings that don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of the problem too, is a lot of these people in management and supervisory positions, they spend so much time in these high level ridiculous meetings that when it's actually time for them to get work done themselves, they don't have any fucking time.
Yeah.
And then they're pissed off and they're working late, and you know, everything else is affected.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I spend a lot of time once, like every, like, I want to say like a few times a month going up to, I go up to our Northern Virginia office to drive another hour to go to a meeting, and they're talking in circles about the same shit we talked about last month and nothing is getting done. And I'm just like, so I have to spend like 5 hours in my day driving to go to a meeting and we didn't talk about crap.
Yeah, so
This is ridiculous.
that's another problem too, is nobody briefs you before meetings. Like that's very rare that I get material
Yeah.
beforehand that says this is exactly what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Or even just sitting like a little Word document that says, you know, here's our agenda and it's just 5 bullet points, right?
Yeah.
Because if you got an agenda every week for that stupid meeting, you'd say, okay, none of this shit applies to me. I'm not going to drive 5 hours today to go to this meeting. Or if they really need me, I will call in.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, our customer expects us to go, so I kind of have to go. But
yeah,
I mean, that's a whole nother thing. But like,
that's some more bullshit too.
Yeah, but
that's
like
some old school stuff that just does not work anymore.
But what blows me is that they don't go to the meetings, which would be really helpful if they went to the meetings.
But, oh yeah, that's just bullshit. Okay, I get you. Yeah,
but
let's not get into that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's just I totally
God.
agree. Like a lot of like meetings that could have been emails, could have been email, like 100%. Like
yeah, that's my thing. I don't mind approaching people, but if I'm gonna approach you and you're gonna have a fucking attitude because you're too busy to talk to me, that is not my problem. And then if you're gonna blow me off when I'm trying to talk to you, I can't talk right now. I get the hand in my face every once in a while, and that fucks my whole week up.
So. That's why, like, I don't talk to certain people in the office. Like, I talk, like upper management. I talk to my boss, and that's really about it. Except for like the people on our team. Other than that, I don't talk to nobody else in the office, for real. And if I have to, I talk to my boss's boss, who's like the area manager. So he's like the boss. And so other than that, nah, like I can't. Yeah, you put a hand in my face, and I swear to you, one of us is gonna lose our jobs. And you better pray to God it's not me, because I'm just gonna have too much time on my hands to come get you, because I just no. Why? I could not. I could not. I don't know how you do it, but I could not.
It's happened to me a couple of times, and usually it's from the same person or two.
Yeah.
And so usually, like, I'll take today as an instance. For instance, today just happened today, where now I have this new thing where it's like I will listen to this person, like, because he's always talking to. I'm naming one person or mentioning one person in particular. Yeah. He's always talking to people. People are always approaching him, and I get it. That's annoying. You're trying to just sit and like type something up, and people are at your desk every other minute, right?
Yeah.
But I will go and do a lap, and I'll try to gauge his mood. Like, oh, how's his tone today? You know, because it's that bad. Like, how is his tone today? Sucky. Did he wake up and his kid like puked on his shoes before he walked out the door, or did his dog like shit in the doorway or something? And like, you know, like I gotta gauge him like that, because by the time I approach him, I cannot take that attitude anymore.
Oh no,
like, it's just happened so many times already that I can't. And so luckily today, I did this today, and it worked well, because I was like, oh wow, he actually sounds pretty cheerful. And you know what? I've approached him like 5 different times, and he helped me every single time, and he was pleasant and nice, and we had great conversations. And I'm like, why is this man so fucking stressed that is a rare thing for him to be in good enough of a mood to have a conversation? Without yelling. Yeah, because his usual mood is he's about ready to curse somebody out, and he doesn't give a shit, because he's like PM level, so he's like, you know,
of course, like,
so he's like, yeah, top one of the top dudes. I get it, you got a lot of stuff on your plate, you know,
but that doesn't allow you, that doesn't give you grace to be a shitty person. Like,
no, I'm not saying he's a shitty person, but I'm saying he's in that situation because he's overworked, and nobody gives him a break. And I get it. Like, you gotta have time to have your own shit. And so then it turns out he's also one of those guys that's in at 7:30 and out at 7 p.m.
Okay. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I still think that's pretty shitty behavior. Like, you're not allowed, like, regardless of like what you chose to do, that you chose to be in at 7 and to be out at 7, and you chose to allow yourself to never
you
have
chose that
time
job
for yourself. You chose that job. You chose, that is your choice.
That's the territory that comes with it.
Yes, but that also doesn't allow you to be a shitty person just because of all those things. Like, I don't like people like that. God bless you, because I could not deal with someone like that ever.
And that's another thing though. It's like, I respect him, I really do, and I appreciate the work that he does, because he's very, very fucking good at his job, and so I respect him in that sense. But the one time the problem was, I had been trying to catch him all day, and I was like, hey, what time are you actually available? And he's like, okay, come see me at this time. And so I went to see him at that time, but he was walking into another meeting. They had like an impromptu managers meeting. Mm-hmm. And so he saw me come in the doorway of the conference room, and he did the hand up. He goes, nope, I can't talk right now. And I just was like, oh, I didn't even say shit. I just turned on my heel and left. And I didn't even approach him. I was like, fuck that. Like, he can come to me if he wants to talk, because I'm not going to have my feelings hurt again by this man.
But also, that's so, yeah, I don't understand that. That's so fucked up, because
that really blew me. Like, because, I was mad for weeks.
You asked him, and he said such and such.
Well, the problem was, we were talking just offhand, and he was like, okay, you know what, why don't we just sit down and have a meeting and talk through this? I'm like, yeah, that's fine with me. Great idea. Then we can focus on this 100%. He goes, okay, yeah, let's try this time. I should be free at this time. And so I didn't know he had this impromptu meeting.
Yeah, and he didn't know how. Yeah, he didn't know he had that.
And so instead of him saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just got pulled into this. Can you come see me in an hour?"
Yeah,
I would have been like, "No problem," and left
exactly.
Him alone. But for him to do the hand up, like, nope, like, don't even think about it, sort of. That was kind of the gesture he gave. Was like, don't even think about it. I was just so offended.
Yeah, you should have been offended.
The only reason why I am over it now, though, is because I realize he talks to everyone like that. It is not just me. Yeah. And it's not just people that are his, subordinates.
Yeah, like, that's shitty. I don't like people like that.
So I feel like I was ranting on that one, but
yeah, no, it's fine. Like, he has no work-life balance, clearly.
Yes. Yeah. So that's an example, and I feel bad. And another thing, like, I'll mention one more thing about him. I remember a few weeks ago, his daughter got sick. I think he's got a little girl. She's probably like 7 or 8, something like that. So, little girl, right?
Yeah.
And around lunchtime, I guess his wife or somebody called him and let him know. And so he was stressed. You could tell he was just kind of like, oh shit. And I'm like thinking, like, oh man, he feels so bad because his kid is sick, and he's kind of far away. Like, his commute is probably long, whatever. And I just realized, later in the day, like, he was just like salty because he knew he was gonna have to drop everything to go home to take care of her, and his work was gonna fall behind. And so, sure enough, I actually had needed to have another meeting with him, and this was like the end of the week. And so he's like, I'm sorry, like, I think I'm just gonna have to stay home. Like, we gotta meet later. And he was like he was like mad and sad, and I was just like, what is going on with this dude? I'm like, are you mad and sad because your kid is sick, or are you mad and sad because you have to miss work? And that's like scary.
Yeah,
that's a scary thought.
Like, that poor kid.
Yeah, I'm not even questioning his I'm not questioning his parenting. I'm sure he's a fine parent.
Yeah,
but I'm just like, for you to be that engrossed and worried about your job, that's how you react to stuff.
Yeah,
it's just like,
that's why I'm like, yeah.
So, anyways, let's move on, because we've been ranting.
Yeah. Yeah. People with no work-life balance, that honestly affects us.
But I feel like if anyone's listening, people are gonna be like, yeah, that makes absolute sense, because it's just not worth it. Like, especially if you have kids or a family. I mean, even if you just have a pet or something, like it's not
worth it.
It's just not worth it to sacrifice so much of your living life.
Yeah, because we live in this like culture and the society that like champions the people who do all the work and stay up late and push through and da 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 da, and like they're nonstop, non-going hustling, that hustle culture and like all that stuff. Yeah. But then like these people burn out the fastest. Mm-hmm. They burn out the fastest, and then they just like quit, and you're just like, oh, this person was doing so great, they were on top of the world.
That's exactly and then they quit happened.
And like no one knows what happened to them, blah blah blah. It's like because they burnt out, they're tired. Like, we're human beings, we're not machines, we're not built to build Rome in a day. Like, we're built to, put a brick on top of one brick, and the next day we put another brick on top of another brick. Like, that is not that's a terrible analogy, but that is not what we're made to do. We need rest. We need to do things that we enjoy. And if that thing is just Netflixing and chilling, like, hey, that's what we need to do to relax and recuperate. And that's how we sustain being creative and being so ingenious and like who we are as humans. Like, and that's why I just don't believe in the balance, because I'm just like, because you can't really balance it all the time. It just becomes a game of prioritization. What's your priority this time then over that time? And that's why with people who are working, that's their priority. But then there's a shift, and then they realize like that's not it anymore. That's not it. And also these companies, they are not going to be here for you when you die. Because you worked your ass off for them, for their profits, for their bonuses, for their jets to the West Coast and East Coast and all this other stuff, and their private jets and stuff like that.
Yes. So I will say two things on that note. One is this is all so circular, because this is really stuff that I've been paying a lot of attention to over the last couple of weeks. One is, I read this quote that is so fucking true, and it's, if you don't take, it's basically like along, I can't quote it per se, but actually, let me pull it up real quick, because I don't, I'll edit this part out, but I'm gonna be like, I've read this quote and I remember it perfectly.
I would like to tell the audience that's not listening, it'll be Amber playing this back, that she didn't remember.
Okay, I think I found it. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so there's this quote. I'm not sure who initially said it, but the quote is, if you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to help build theirs. True. I mean, it's just so fucking true. So it's like, if you're not doing your own shit, you're helping somebody else do their shit, right? Yeah. And then the other thing that I will say is, like what you said, where these companies, they're not your friend, right? You can be friends with the people that work there, but in the general sense, companies are not there for you, right?
Yeah.
Because I was on Reddit, and the thread was discussing like pretty much like work-life balance, like, what's some like shitty situation that you've been in with your employer or people, in your working environment. And this guy chimed in and was like, this guy I knew worked for the company for decades, and he died. Just straight up just died one day. He just didn't come in until he died. And they cleared his desk out, and within a few days, they were interviewing for another person to fill his position. It's like, they don't fucking care.
Nope.
This was the thing. It was, they were asking, like, was there any tribute? Like, what did your boss do in that situation? Whatever. No tribute, no email, like sensitive email saying, this is what happened to him, blah, blah, blah. This is his viewing information if you want to attend, None of that. It was just, there's this void here. We're going to clear all his shit out and ship it in a box to his wife and move the fuck on.
Yeah.
And that just blows me. It just blows my mind.
there's so many companies. Luckily, I will say, like, my company isn't like that.
Well, but everybody's gonna say that though at some point.
Yeah, but I mean, because there have been tragically quite a few deaths in 2019, unfortunately, at our job. Yeah, like one of the managers died actually the day before my birthday, and it was, they dealt with it really, really well. Like his wife came in, like his wife, you know, like during Thanksgiving, she came in and had, because she was so impressed with, like, you know, how well we like received like his death, and like a ton of people came to like his funeral and stuff like that. It was like the next week, and she like really loved the response and stuff like that. During Thanksgiving, she like catered us like a little like Thanksgiving potluck thing, which was like, yeah, which was like really sweet. Like that's how, like, so like for for my company, like they actually do a really good job with being sensitive and stuff like that. Not every company is like that, but there are so many companies out there who do not give a fuck. They do not give a fuck about you, because you're not their bottom line. Because going back to what I said earlier, capitalism, like
people are replaceable.
You are replaceable. You are 100% replaceable. There are thousands, millions of people out there who want your job. And there are also people who, there are managers, I don't like the managers who like remind you of that like all the time.
Oh yeah.
Or I don't even want to get into that. Like I haven't had that like experience, but I've heard it way too many times, and it's like really, really unsettling. And yeah, so don't, that's why I'm just like, and I see it with like my coworkers, because we're all young. We're like, the oldest person is like 30. Like we're all super young. So like I'm just like, do not work your ass off for no one. For no one. Like unless you absolutely have to, and if that's something that you want to do, sure. But to do that consistently all the time, like it, I understand like you want to like show that you're like doing the thing because, you know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and like working your way up the ladder and stuff like that. Yeah. No. Like I do it to a point. I will work the overtime because, you know, I like a project comes up, stuff like that. I really like my boss. I really like our team. If I can work overtime, I'll do it because I'm okay with that. Like, you know, because I know myself and I know that it's not a long haul thing. It's not a long run thing. I'm not going to do this forever. But yeah, don't overwork yourself for these crappy ass companies who are paying you shit. And then you probably aren't getting, most people don't even get a good ass raise every year, or don't even get a raise every year. And you're working your ass off for these companies who, at the end of the day, like with that guy, they're gonna clear off your desk in like less than 24 hours. Like, and that's just gonna be that on that. Like, you're gonna be a blip to them while your family is like mourning and stuff like that. Like, because you overworked yourself, like, and didn't enjoy your life. Like, so yeah,
it's crazy. Like if you think about it, like that guy never got to retire. He worked his whole fucking career, and he probably was working towards, oh, I'm gonna buy this house here,
working
get this
towards
cottage, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
My kids are gonna be older, and they're gonna come back and see me and my wife. And he died.
Yeah.
It's grim.
Yeah, it is. But like, it's such a reminder to enjoy your life. Enjoy your life, and live your life the way you want to live it. Don't let you getting into this rat race, like, I hate that word, that phrase, but like you getting into that motion and that, like, I feel like as millennials, because we're so young, we're fresh into the professionalism, into these fields and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of us feel like we have to be doing all of that, and we don't. we don't. We're so young and we have so much life. Like, my dad was commenting, he was like joking with me about how like I take like so much time off work. And like I feel like I
I do too.
don't. I don't know. I feel like I don't, but also at the same time I'm like I'm young and I want to take they give us these hours to take off. Like
Yeah.
they pay us. So like take time off. Why
Well,
wouldn't
I
you
mean,
take
because it
it?
still could always be better. If you think about like the UK or the Netherlands, they have
Yeah.
weeks and weeks of holiday, paid
Yeah,
holiday.
which oh man, I love that term holiday. Like it sounds way better than
I'm
vacation.
going on
I'm
holiday.
going on holiday. Like
Hey, no, that's pretty good. You sound like what's her face? Never mind.
oh,
I was gonna say Naomi Campbell, but now I can't
oh,
remember if she's British or not.
yeah, she
I don't think
is.
she is. Is she?
Yeah, yeah, she is.
Yes, she is. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, I, yeah, man, uh, that just boils my blood. I'm kidding.
Oh man, that should have
What?
gone in that long ass thing should have gone in our what's got you hot.
Oh,
I have this book that I've been reading that kind of segues. It'll be
yeah.
like a
Mm-hmm.
circular thing,
Yeah,
and
you're
then
good.
we can do what's got you hot and close it out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, that's what I was thinking anyway. So
Okay.
that's good.
Cool. Um. Yeah. So, kind of along the same lines of what we've been discussing today, I'm actually reading this book that I think is pretty relevant. It's a book called Essentialism, and if anyone's interested and wants to take a look at it, the author is Greg McKeown. He's this British guy who moved to America. His backstory, basically, his story behind writing the book is he he spent most of his career as a workaholic. Like he was just that guy who was just always on it, worked all hours of the day, whatever. And so his wife was pregnant and she went to the hospital. It was the day of their daughter's birth. Went to the hospital, had the baby. It was great. The problem was, like a day or two before that, he was setting up a meeting with clients, and he reminded everyone that his wife was due. And so his client had the nerve to make a joke and say, "Oh, wouldn't the day of our meeting be a terrible day for your wife to have the baby?"
Oh
And so what happened
no.
was, the day of the meeting, she had the baby.
Oh
And so
no.
what he did was he went, he was with her at the hospital. She gave birth. Within an hour or two, he left to go to the
Oh
meeting.
my god.
Yeah. And so he came in, he was, the way he tells it is he came in and everybody was looking at him like why are you here? And he's like, "Oh, well,
Yeah.
I'm here for the meeting. You told me not to miss it, right?" And everybody was like, "Yeah, no, that was, you didn't, it wasn't like that, right?" So he ends up having the meeting and it's not a productive meeting. And
Yeah.
so after that day, he kind of took a step back. That was his wake up call, where
Yeah.
he was like, "Holy shit, I can't even prioritize the birth of my own
Mhm.
daughter over my work anymore."
Yeah.
So he starts thinking about that sort of stuff, and so he ties it into this book. And the book basically is his way of explaining the main catch of the book is less but better.
Yeah.
So you can kind of apply the stuff that he's teaching in the book to any portion of your life. It's how to say no to things that don't provide value to you,
Yep.
how to say no to things that take up too much time that you could
Mhm.
be, that could be better spent doing other things that are important, priorities,
Mhm.
the stuff that we've been talking about,
Yeah.
you know. How to declutter because you've just been so used to just buying stuff because you think you need it, but really, with this essentialism, you take a step back and say, what is actually like a priority of mine? Let me see. So he also has this thought process where he compares the non-essentialists, so like everyday people like you and me, and hopefully what I can try to get away from. He compares the non-essentialists to the essentialists. And so some examples are, you know, and a non-essentialist will think I have to, but an essentialist will think I choose to.
Yeah.
And then a non-essentialist will say it's all important, while an essentialist will say only a few things really matter,
Mhm.
right? And then the other thing is like, a non-essentialist might say, how can I fit all this into my schedule? And then the essentialist would say, what are the actual trade-offs of me doing this thing?
Yeah.
So he makes a lot of great points, and I think it's really just another reason why I've been kind of rethinking my role in my work. It's like, I don't want to be that person that just takes on everything and says yes just because I think I have to.
Yeah.
You know, the main hurdle I think for a lot of people is, how do you get over the fear of getting chastised or getting in trouble for speaking up,
Yeah.
and doing the thing that makes the most sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you speak up and say, I'm working too many hours, I don't want to do this?
Yeah.
How do you say, I don't want to take on that project because it's going to, take me away from this other project that's more important, or whatever, so.
Yeah.
So I think it's got a lot of great points. I'm still reading through it. I think I'll,
That's such a
maybe
good book.
yeah,
What's
I think I'll.
What's the name of the book again?
Yeah, so the book is called Essentialism, and the author is Greg McKeown. And also, if you go on Matt D'Avella's YouTube page, he has a couple of interviews with him that are excellent. Matt D'Avella has a super popular YouTube channel, and right now he's got about 2.5 million subscribers. And he also has a pretty popular podcast called The Ground Up Show, where he interviews people who are just really kind of like pillars and like self-development and things like, personal finance, and it could be things like people who are like personal trainers that are like, kind of like top of the industry. So he interviews a lot of great people who have written a lot of great books or movie or documentaries, those sort of things, and he gets a deeper explanation of what they're trying to convey from their stuff. So
that sounds really good. I feel like I'm in that gray area where I'm like in the middle of like being non-essentialism and kind of also like still essentialism. Like,
yes,
I feel like I definitely want to be more non, but I mean, we grow up being essentialisms. So it's hard to like kind of like all your life you've been that way and then like trying to like relearn everything that you have learned.
Well, I guess you mean we grow up not thinking of essentialism. So we grow up just thinking that we have to do these things because you said so.
Yeah,
because that's what expected. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really like because you really can apply it to anything. You can apply it to social situations where you feel like, you're getting pulled in too many directions by friends and family. You have too many obligations by them.
Yeah.
You can apply it to money. What am I actually spending my money on? Why am I spending my money on these things? What do I really need to spend money on to benefit me? It's not about what you need, like shelter, food, clothes.
Yeah.
It's about what is important to you, right? So for you, you need your obviously you need your shelter, your food and clothes and stuff, but you also need the stuff that makes your day better, right? Your plants, your stuff for your rabbit, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then deciding not to spend on stuff that doesn't fucking matter to you. Like, fucking throw pillow or something. If it doesn't give you enough value, if it doesn't, it's back to like KonMari and all that stuff too, which we could talk about in other episodes. If it's not doing that for you, you don't need it. So, exactly. So that's kind of what the focus of it is. So
I'm gonna try to read that.
One day. And so great, that sounds great. Another thing I would say is, I'm pretty sure there's an audiobook for it. But what I would recommend is that anyone listening, if you don't already have a library card, get a fucking library card. I know there's like some stigma towards public libraries these days,
which I don't understand.
But I've actually I just heard recently that more people went to the library than to the movie theater last year, which I think is excellent. Yeah, so the trend is starting to come back in the right direction. So what I would say is get a library card and go and rent stuff at the library. And if you can't do that, download an app called Libby, Libby.
Yes. Oh my God. I love Libby. I
Yeah,
love
use that
Libby. So
because
with
that ties in. Oh, go ahead if you want to finish.
so with Libby, I use Libby and I also use another app called Hoopla. I'm a
Okay.
library nerd. I volunteered at the library for every summer in for like 3 years in a row in like middle
Love
school.
it.
It was ridiculous. But I freaking love the library. But anyway, so with Libby, it's an app where you can rent books from your local library.
Yes.
So personally what I did digitally, so they're
Yes.
ebooks. So what I did is I have a Nook because I don't use Kindles, but I just use Barnes Noble. Anyway, so I have a Nook. I downloaded the Libby app and I applied for a library card from my local library. Like, so I live in a certain city and I just enrolled on with they have like digital like library cards now instead of like the
Yeah.
physical ones. So I was like, I don't want to go inside the library. So I looked online. They have a
Yes.
e-library card and I was like, all right, cool. And so I took the number and then you just plug it in on the Libby app and then they're like, oh, now you can like rent ebooks, and it can be on your phone, your tablet, your e-reader, like anything that's like, you know, electronic or anything like that. So you put in your library card and number and then you automatically can start renting books. You can also rent books. You can also have multiple library cards on there. So I have two.
Yes.
So I have like my parents live in a different city than I do.
Exactly.
So I have the one that for the city that I live in, and then I have a library card for the city that my parents live in, and I just use both and I switch back and forth in between. So like sometimes like a book that I want, it might be on hold at like another library, but then the other library doesn't have a hold on it, so I can just automatically check it out. Hoopla is the same way. But you can rent books, audiobooks, movies, music,
awesome,
TV shows. So it's like more inclusive. The only thing is that you can't put multiple library cards on it. Okay. So you can only use one or the other. But it works the same way as Libby. The great thing is that there are no fees. So if you forget to return your ebook, I mean, they just gonna take it. Like, and that's it.
They just pull it back.
They just pull it back after like the 14 days or 21 days or whatever. And that's it. Like there are no fees. You don't have to truck back to the library. I love Libby, love Hoopla. Like
exactly.
Legit, awesome, amazing services. More people should know about it. Go to the library. It's free. You're already paying for it in your taxes. You might as well.
That's true.
Like, so
and you get a nice looking library card most of the time.
Yeah, like they're really nice, and yeah.
I know Chicago Public Library cards are kind of lame, but it's Chicago Public Library, so I'm not gonna complain.
All right. Well, now we're gonna transition into our segment called "What's Got You Hot." Cue Amber singing in her lovely auto-tune voice.
What's got you hot?
I love it. Okay, so what's got you hot? Let's wrap this up.
You go first.
Okay. You know what? Actually, what's kind of like been annoying this week is like my hair's been actually kind of frizzy, and I don't know how to deal with it. Like I legitimately don't understand, because usually like now I've been using like these new products and I'm trying to go on my coily hair journey. I don't say curly because I don't have curly hair, I have coily hair.
Coily.
So I'm just like, so I'm like, oh, my coils are popping, you know? But but then now I'm like, oh, they're not popping because it's been like super rainy over here, and I've just been like, I don't know how to deal with the humidity and the frizz. So if someone can help you, girl, that'd be great. But you know, I'm gonna try to figure it out. So that's got me hot or cold or whatever. It's I don't know. But
okay, so your coils got
my
you hot.
coils got me hot. The humidity.
Okay, let me think. Oh God, I'm really thinking. Oh my God, because I don't want to say similar stuff to what we've been talking about this whole time. Because I'm like, my work.
I mean, but it's real though.
Okay,
it's our real life.
All right. I guess what's got me hot right now, and it's the coronavirus. Let's just talk about that for just a second. And I don't
Man.
want it to be taken the wrong way. I feel very bad that people are affected and people are getting sick and hundreds of people are dying, right? At this point, I think there's close to 600 deaths confirmed.
Yeah.
With about 28,000 cases. But the thing that's got me hot about it is it just seems like I just can see this going on for months and months and months. And so at this point already, we've already canceled travel. We were going to go to Japan in May, and we've canceled that because it's just not worth it to even risk it, especially not knowing how things are going to be months from now. Could be much worse, could be better, and that's great. I'd be so grateful for that, but I'm not going to say, oh, I'm pissed that I canceled my trip because this virus was supposed to be worse than it, I'm not going to think that.
Yeah.
But the thing that's got me hot is like, I'm just generally concerned for people. Like, it's just a lot. And they're building these hospitals, especially in China, and, citizens of different countries are being evacuated and all of this stuff, and they're being put in quarantine and all this other things. But I don't want to be here when there's some worldwide pandemic. Like, I'm not prepared for the plague,
The bubonic plague.
Oh man, it's just, I saw this tweet that's been circulating around, and this lady was like, oh, I'm so sick of this stuff, blah blah blah. Everybody gets sick. What happened? There weren't any illnesses like this back then. It was some probably some like anti-vax bitch. I don't know. Christ. And so somebody replied was like, the Black Plague killed like a third of the European population. Yeah. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
The way that 2019 went and the way that 2020 is turning out to be, unfortunately, I know we were so hopeful a few weeks ago. Yeah. The way things have been going, I'm just like, yeah, it's not looking so good.
Yeah. It's funny because I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts today earlier, and they like started talking about like the virus and stuff like that, but they were also talking about how it's literally every year something else comes out. Do you remember swine flu,
Ebola, SARS,
yes. Like that one, the bird flu, like there's just like so like every year something epidemic happens and like crazy happens, like, and so and they were also talking about the CDC was like saying pretty much literally every time this stuff happens, the one conclusion they come to is y'all need to wash your fucking hands. Wash your fucking hands. No one is ever going to hear this podcast, but wash your fucking hands, because I don't understand.
Yes, wash your hands and don't eat food that you don't know the origin of, because that's how this shit started. Like, my understanding is Wuhan, China has a huge market, or they have, many markets, but in one market in particular is this huge market for like exotic animals and things like that. And so the way it was passed from some animal to a person that visited or maybe purchased stuff at the market. Yeah. And from there, so some of the scientists and doctors that discovered the new illness, they were saying, okay, this is originating from just groups of people who have been to that market recently. Don't buy food that you don't know the origin of. Yeah. Don't trust people with your fucking bootleg groceries. Yeah. And wash your fucking hands.
Yeah. Wash your fucking hands. Please. 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 Like, literally.
Oh my god. I was in the airport the other day, saw this lady, she left the stall and didn't wash her hands.
Oh no.
Dude, I swear to God, like, it was dirty looks straight up from everyone. It was crowded because it was right after a flight. Everybody was getting off, going out. Doesn't matter what she did in there. She should have washed her hands, right? And so she's walking out, and this lady said, "You are nasty as fuck." Like, right to the back of her head. She just kept walking. Yes. She didn't even turn around. Like, how do you not just own up to that and say, "Oh, my bad," and just wash your hands? Like, you're just gonna go and continue to be a nasty bitch all day?
Yes, because they don't give a fuck. Oh my god. Like, Yeah, wash your fucking hands.
Now I'm irritated now, so
wash your hands. Like literally, they were like segueing a lot. But last point on the podcast, they were talking about like how they, first of all, it was like in the 1800s, like early 1800s or something like that. They finally realized why. I think they were like at a hospital, and so don't quote me on all this, but they were at a hospital, and this guy, they're trying to figure out why these pregnant women were dying. Well, people were just dying in hospitals in general. Like mortality rate was super high, but they were trying to figure out why. And they did a study with like these pregnant women. Some of the pregnant women were being taken care of by doctors, and some of the women were being taken care of by midwives, and the pregnant women that had the midwives weren't dying, and the pregnant women with the doctors were dying. And it's like trying to figure out why. Long story short, the doctors were dealing with dead people and then dealing with the pregnant women.
No, what?
And that's how they learned about germs. Long story short, this story is very short. But yeah, and that's how they learned about germs. These people were dealing with dead people, cadavers, and then not washing their hands and going to touch these pregnant women. I was just like, and that's how we learned about germs. My mind was blown today. Like I was just like, I cannot believe. And we still doing the same shit.
Yep.
Like I just like oh, God. Like yeah, it blows my mind. But yeah. That wraps this episode so much. Oh man.
All right.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so this was the Slight Sarcasm Podcast. We want to thank you for listening in, and we hope to have you join us in the next one.
Ooh, episode 2.
All
Bye,
right.
y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Ooh.